Welcome back to Court TV Live. Opening statements are set to resume at any moment in the trial for rapper Young Thug in Atlanta today.
Young Thug, whose real name is Jeffrey Williams, faces charges in a sprawling RICO case of being part of a criminal street gang named YSL. He and 5 other co-defendants deny the charges against them.
And we're going to get you into court when the judge is on the bench. But meanwhile, we want to bring in national trial attorney Mike Jaafar to talk about this case. Michael, it took so long to seat a jury in this case. A lot of jurors had said it would be hardship because this trial is supposed to last several months. That's always a challenge here, to try to find jurors that are able and willing to serve for so many months without any hardship. Kind of just talk about that situation and how then they were able to finally seat a jury in this case.
Yeah, we were just talking in the prior segment about our justice system and how awesome it is, and how how the gears grind forward, how the gears grind forward, and how the members of our system work so hard for even the smallest cases. Right, I've seen even very small cases without a high profile, where the prosecution and the defense attorney, they work for weeks and weeks and weeks to seat a jury. So in this specific situation, the difficulty they have to deal with is they have to deal with politics. They have to deal with local politics. They have to deal with national politics. They have to deal with, a jury pool that's going to be very, very in favor of one side or the other. And I've been to Atlanta. I've been to Atlanta many times. I know how it's a very unique ecosystem. And so seating a jury for a case like this, I would say it's not possible for it to be harder than in any other case. It's very difficult. So these months and months and months that go on, when you seat a jury, you have to really go through the logistics, and you have to find people in the right places, and you have to just make sure that you've picked somebody where you're not going to have a mistrial, and you have to redo the case again. Jurors could be tampered with, and if you go into, for example, in the inner city, and we've seen it in other cases, obviously outside of Atlanta, where jurors were actually tampered with when the defendants were local criminals, right? When local criminals were, like the Cocaine Cowboys case in Miami, right? Years later, some of the jurors went to jail many years after an acquittal. They went to jail. They actually admitted to receiving bribes and payoffs. And I kind of see that dynamic here. And that's why prosecutors are being very wary and very careful, because they know that jurors, if they pick a juror that's vulnerable economically, that juror could be tampered with, and then the whole entire system, is thrown out. And so that's really the conversation behind the scenes with these prosecutors is, we got to get jurors that aren't going to be bribed, and that's pretty much the challenge. And people are going to have undue influence exerted on them if we pick the wrong people, and if we don't protect them, we don't protect their the confidentiality of who they are. So the logistics are very, very difficult. If you're just trying a murderer, no one's going to bribe anyone and tamper with a jury when a murderer is on trial. This is different. This is a cultural thing, right? And so you're delving into a culture, and you're creating kind of like a civil war within that culture. So I truly sympathize with the difficulty for both sides, the defense and the prosecution. This is a cultural battle that they're doing right now. And so those are very, very raw, and they're very contentious, and they're very sensitive.